My name is Escaneval and welcome to Sheepy Snuggles. This is a drawing I made for a short story I wrote called Antidiom, which is set in an alternate universe that I call Septic Sheep. You can find the story on my Tumblr or AO3, links are in the description below, or just listen here. Sean lives in a cabin in the hills where he cares for and graces with his sheep. He has a herd of 6 and loves them dearly. Chase is the blondish one that likes to run around after things and toss them around too. Jackie is the reddish one that always runs with Chase, but prefers tackling things and his fellow sheep. Jameson is the quiet gray one that sits and observes everyone. He's usually joined by Henrik, the one with the browner wool, and Marvin, the white sheep. Anti is Sean's oddball sheep, his black sheep. He likes to graze away from everyone else, only ever answers to Sean's call, and only plays with Jackie. He's a bit violent, kicking the legs, stomachs, chests, and even faces of people when pissed, and has been known to ram strangers when they get too close. But he's probably Sean's favorite, because he was Sean's first. He found him in the forest behind his house, a bloody, weeping black sheep. The tiny thing had broken limbs and a sliced open throat. He looked like a literal sacrificial lamb. But he was alive. Auntie tried to bite him as he was bundled up and carried. He was so afraid. Sean was certain he'd have been cursing if he were human. Instead, Auntie just bayed loudly, all the way home. Sean made Auntie a nest in his room, made of the softest cotton. Blankets and pillows gave the frightened animal a protective fort that only Sean ever disturbed, calming him and giving him a sense of much-needed security. The shepherd-to-be cleaned his wounds and bandaged him up gently. Everything Sean did was careful and soft, like his cotton. By the time Auntie's well, he's chasing Sean everywhere, bawling quietly for food, silently joining the human in bed, even picking things up from the floor to help the shepherd clean. It was the cutest thing. Then came jealousy. Auntie didn't like the sudden infestation of new sheep. They were unbearably loud and bigger than him, and kept stealing his human. His human. They showed him no respect, even though he was the very first of Sean's sheep, and he hated them with a passion because of it. Especially the one called Jackie. He was the largest of them all, with rustic red wool and a dark blue-tinted snout. All the other sheep respected him, and he seemed to expect that of Auntie too. The black sheep took great pleasure in being the outlier here, for once. Marvin baying loudly was Sean's first warning. His second was Jameson, normally so quiet, joining. By the time Henrik and Chase were also baying, Sean was outside. He'll never forget just how red Auntie's blood looked against Jackie's rustic wool. Auntie's recovery this time was both faster and longer. It was faster because Auntie's wounds weren't as severe as they were back then, but it was longer because there were wounds and fears in Auntie's heart and mind that Sean, a mere human and new shepherd to boot, didn't know how to heal. How does one tell a sheep they were wrong to hurt another so badly, or at all? Especially when that sheep was just defending themselves from the other one. By letting the sheep work it out themselves, apparently. Every morning the young shepherd would wake to a dark blue-tinted sheep's face peering at him from beyond his window, its sky-blue eyes locked onto Auntie. And at first, Sean was concerned about this. Was Jackie just lying in wait? Would Auntie get hurt yet again? But then the rustic red sheep began to bay loudly at him during feeding time, refusing to eat unless he was sure that Auntie had gotten something down first. Jackie would even bring bouquets of forbs and clovers for Sean to give Auntie. And Auntie knew it. He could smell it, Sean figured out, on the leaves and flowers as he ate them. And as a result, he stopped tensing and trying to leave the room when he saw Jackie looking at him through the window. They began talking to each other. By the time Auntie fully recovered, he seemed to no longer hate Jackie. In fact, Sean thinks the red sheep is now the black one's favorite. I made a few different postcards of this image and posted them on my Tumblr. If you'd like to see them, links in the description below. I might also add a few more since they were a lot of fun to make. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below and feel free to suggest what I should do in my next one. Until then, thanks for watching. All my love.